Before we get started, I want to emphasize that this podcast in no way reflects the actual amount of hours and time and effort the family and a handful of volunteers put into searching for Diamond and King. I would have to go through every Facebook post, news media report, conversations dating all the way back to 2015, and it probably still wouldn't be an accurate depiction of the amount of effort because a lot of it wasn't documented, at least to the news media. It would take an entire podcast, which I believe should be done, and I would love to put something together that really documents everything that was done by this family just to show how much they were abandoned by officials. What you will see in this podcast in detail is somewhat of a timeline of events as to what efforts the officials did finally put forth and where they may have dropped the ball. It was time-consuming to go hand over hand through every media release report, Google searches, and following a trail of events. Some media would list a few statements from officials and family. Another news media would be working the same story but report different statements. It may have been the same story or the same scenario. They just pick and choose what statements they put out. So between that, conversations, Facebook timestamps, police reports, and other resources, I was able to put information in somewhat of a chronological order. The dates are correct according to sources, but the times are not yet nailed down completely. So on one day you may see 3 occurrences, but they may not have happened in that particular order because they were getting reports from law enforcement officials, task force officials, and family. So they may have happened on the day, but they may not have happened in that order. Plus there are gaps of time where certain events took place that weren't in the media. So I'm still piecing all of it together, and what you're going to get is a skeleton of a storyline. If you are a follower of this case and notice anything that needs clarification or information added to it, please just send me a private message so I can make sure that everything is as accurate as possible. Also, to the family, if you have any information that you feel the public needs to know, please send me a message so we can work alongside each other and get that information out. I'm not into bashing. I don't judge. I don't criticize. I don't think that that does anything to help the situation. It leads to a situation where nobody's working on the same team. And I think sometimes that interferes with the end goal, and that is to get the truth out and to get Diamond and King home.
Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail? Smile from a veil. Do you think you can tell? So, do you think we can change everybody that hates before it's too late? So proud to be free, but who can we blame? Don't be ashamed. Do you think we can change?
Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of do a brief overview of the timeline of events. This is going to start from the police report till now. What you're going to see is really just depicting the day that law enforcement finally started to investigate, how long they investigated, and when it ended. So they really didn't start digging in until that Monday after the kids were gone. Then the task force comes in right around that following Wednesday, and they work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So basically Monday through Friday is when some real active investigating and searching was going on. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the day one of the occurrence. This is the day that Susanne Bynum contacts Gary PD and reports Diamond and King missing. Her story is that she fed and bathed Diamond and King. They all lay down for a nap. She fell asleep, woke up, and the kids are gone. According to Gary PD police report, 10 o'clock is the time that Susanne Bynum states she was feeding and bathing King. 10:30 to 11:12 is the time that Gary PD lists as the event of the occurrence, meaning sometime between 10:30 and the time she called Gary PD at 11:12, the kids went missing. So the police report also states that Susanne Bynum tells law enforcement that she woke up at 11:10, and 11:12 is the time the call came in to Gary PD. Same day, 11:30 a.m., LaShawn states that Eugene Bynum's mother, Daisy, arrived at her home but did not mention that Diamond and King were missing. About a half hour later, 12:30, LaShawn's daughter, Ariana, calls her. Daisy Bynum is still there, and Ariana tells her that Diamond and King are missing. 12:24, a radio alert goes out by Gary PD giving a description of Diamond and King. According to the report, this is the last radio alert that went out. And then that night, Daisy Bynum takes to the airwaves because law enforcement is not helping them, and told the family that their detectives don't work on the weekends. So the family is searching. No police assistance, no Amber or Silver alert issued. Same day, unconfirmed time, individuals report seeing Diamond and King at the McDonald's on 5th and Grant. Also a report that Diamond was seen in a local scrapyard collecting cans. That day and time has not been confirmed, but I just wanted to go ahead and put that in there. So the family's still searching. No police assistance. Their investigators don't work on the weekend. I find this appalling because this is a 2-year-old and an adult with the mentality of a 7-year-old. They're basically two kids went missing and nobody's looking but the family. So day 2, we're now 24 hours later since Diamond and King disappeared. The family is searching the neighborhoods. They're looking through abandoned buildings. They're going door to door. There is still no Amber or Silver alert or law enforcement investigating. The neighbors and volunteers are helping. 48 hours later, we're now moving into Monday morning. Law enforcement finally begins. So this is the day. This is Monday. They focus their search in and around the house. They pass out flyers to residents. They get information about the supposed sighting at the McDonald's, and they start looking. I don't know why this is the day they focus their search in and around the house, because it's been 48 hours. 9 a.m. According to the police report, Detective Gonzalez and Figueroa canvass businesses along Broadway from 5th to 25th Avenue. They drive through streets and alleys in a small grid from 5th to 25th and Virginia to Harrison. Detective Gonzalez and Figueroa speak with several people, and they continue to hand out flyers. The family is still searching, and I believe at this point they're talking to media as well. So they're going through these dilapidated buildings, and I'll post some of these pictures to the website. You will be appalled when you see what these people had to dig through to find their kids. So Gary Police keeps continuing on with their search. We're now into Tuesday. They resume searching and canvassing the following apartments, and there's a list of the addresses that they were searching at that time. There were 5 different apartments. They retrieve surveillance videos from McDonald's, and they start to review them. Again, the family is still searching. This does not depict every area they went through. So now we are moving on to 96 hours later. Imagine that. 96 hours, your kid is missing. The K-9 are finally deployed to try to pick up a scent on Diamond and King. So this is Wednesday, July 29th, I believe that says. Detectives complete viewing of surveillance videos from McDonald's. They did not see Diamond and King on those videos during the time they were alleged to be there. They start bringing in the task force, and they help in the search starting next door to the family's home. They search around a 4-block radius from the home. So here's where things get a little murky. Porter County Sheriff and his bloodhound start searching the area around the home, and there's a trail that's tracked from the home down the alley, allegedly. It was told to me from LaShawn that that is what one of the task force members had told her, that they tracked it down the alley. Now, I'm not sure if that was from the task force or if that was from actual Gary PD, because Gary PD also searched with their canines. So, again, allegedly the scent is trailed from the alley behind the home, and the scent gets tracked to the Golo at 11th and Clark, where the scent is lost. Gary PD was searching Tuesday with K9, but according to the police report, I don't think it was tracked until Wednesday, but some of it could have started on Tuesday, and they tracked that scent to 9th and Clark and lost the scent there. So, Tuesday, Wednesday, they start with the K9. 120 hours later, the task force continues to search. Still no Amber or Silver Alert conducted. So Thursday, K9 picks up scent of the two in the area of 22nd and Whitcomb after a report that someone spotted Diamond and King in the area on Wednesday evening. Building searches were conducted from 9th to 15th, from Clark to Whitcomb. Gary PD police report states that K9 was deployed in 11 houses between the blocks of 9th Avenue to 15th Avenue from Clark to Whitcomb. The family's still searching this whole time. 144 hours later, mobile command units, Gary PD assistant searches. Friday, July 31st, 2015, unconfirmed time. Witnesses report seeing Diamond at a bus stop in Hammond. This is a popular one. They say she was wearing purple pants and somebody said she was asking for food and that they gave her $50, but this sighting was unfounded. Authorities then break up into teams and search the area from 11th Avenue to the Borman Expressway and Whitcomb to Grant Streets. 216 hours later. 9 days have gone by since Diamond and King went missing. There are still no Amber or Silver Alerts issued. We're gone into Monday now, August 3rd. Gary Police Lieutenant Thomas Pollock calls off organized law enforcement searches, saying that all of their resources have dried up. So that was the extent of the task force searches. So their active searching ends. 4 days after Diamond and King disappear, the Northwest Indiana Task Force come out to help search the area. The search focused primarily on the neighborhoods around 11th and Clark. Since then, the intensity of the search efforts have dramatically dropped. But the family keeps searching. They keep looking in buildings. They keep looking in fields. There's still searches occurring to this day. So now we're into Friday, August 14th, where a person of interest is named. Terrence D. Williams, also known as Dollar. The police give the description of the young man they are looking for and want to talk to. They state he frequents the 2200 block of Georgia, the area around that, as well as the 800 block of Pennsylvania Street. Tuesday, August 18th, 2015. While the family's out searching, a representative from the agency approaches them and tells them that they will start mailing out flyers of Diamond and King starting the next day. So for 2 days, the Gary residents will receive missing flyers in the mail in an effort to get the word out that they're missing. Thursday, August 20th, a week after a POI was named, Gary police are still wanting to speak with Terrence Williams. Saturday, August 23rd, Golo gas station on 11th and Clark. They stall in giving up the surveillance video that could possibly provide clues as to where Diamond and King went. Did they get in a car? Which way did they walk? The family boycotts the Golo and pickets in front of their building because they will not give up the surveillance video. They finally give it up, and the police state they're going to attempt to retrieve any video of Diamond and King. Why they would stall in that, I have no idea. Wednesday, August 26, 2015, 3 days after police retrieve the hard drive from the Golo, family still waits on law enforcement investigation to determine whether or not Diamond or King are on any surveillance. Friday, August 28, 2015, 2 weeks after the police announced their POI, they state that Terrence Williams, aka Dollar, is no longer being sought. No further information is given regarding Terrence on why he was sought or how he was cleared. So they sure didn't provide any other information about how they cleared him or why he was even being looked into. 6 weeks after the kids disappear, a silver alert is finally issued for Diamond. So a month and a half, and there was no amber alert issued for King. Friday, September 4th, the search expands to Chicago, where two girls spot who they think are Diamond and King at the Citgo gas station on 127th Street. Citgo releases their surveillance, and even though it was a woman with a lamp accompanied by a child, it was not Diamond or King. So people were looking. People were paying attention. Wednesday, September 10th, 2015, remains of a toddler are found. Officials release a sketch of a toddler whose dismembered remains were found in Garfield Park in Chicago. Even though law enforcement didn't believe there was a link between King and the remains, DNA samples of the family were submitted by Chicago police to Quantico to compare, but the remains were not connected to King Walker. It's very sad. Wednesday, September 23rd, 2015, separate incident of a missing person. Now, this is not connected, but it was worth mentioning. 2 months after Diamond and King disappear, a 61-year-old mentally challenged woman in Gary is reported missing on September 24th. She was last seen getting off a bus and walking toward her home, which was about a block away. So she wasn't far from home. Friday, September 25th, 2015, 4 weeks after Golo surrenders the hard drive, the family is still waiting on the law enforcement investigation to see if Diamond and King were ever spotted on their surveillance video. Monday, September 28th, 2015, 4 days after Rimson is reported missing. This is the mentally challenged lady. Law enforcement issues a silver alert for 61-year-old mentally challenged Carolyn Rimson. So 4 days later, there was a silver alert issued for this female that went missing. Tuesday, September 28th, I think that should say 29th, it does. Remains are found outside of an abandoned house. Female body in tall grass and trees outside of an abandoned home in Gary's Glen Park section. So they find remains. Wednesday, September 30th, remains were identified. Authorities identify a woman found dead outside an abandoned Gary home as missing 61-year-old mentally challenged Carolyn Rimson of Gary. Coroner reports state that she died from blunt force trauma. She was also sexually assaulted. So some of her items were also found alongside her body. Rimson's remains were found about 2 blocks from her home. Her death was being investigated. October 2015, Family Command Center. Since early August, the family has held its press conference and search meetings at a Gary neighborhood service center. The command center asked the family to find another meeting place, so they no longer are allowing them to use their facilities as a command center. Same month, October 2015, Golo surveillance. After nearly a month since Lake County investigators retrieved the computer hard drive from the Golo gas station, the family still waits for answers. November 2015. A tip turned in. Investigators receive an additional tip involving another POI. Officer dispatches to the area in question, reported in the tip, but stopped searching due to volume of calls that were pending. This is what was stated in the police report. And it's unknown if any follow-up occurred because there were no media reports on this additional POI that was being sought. April 25th, 2016, no new leads, but Gary Police state their department remains committed to finding Diamond Bynum and King Walker. October 2016, their investigation resumes. The Northwest Indiana Major Crime Task Force agreed to assist. Several items are submitted to the crime lab, and they interview and re-interview people. What triggered that, I do not know. But they also recanvass several areas using canines and execute at least one search warrant. Same month, October 2016. After all of that, there are still no solid results, but they strongly believe that someone knows what happened to Diamond and King, and they know where they are. They are counting on information from the public to help find them. June 2017 is the last time Indiana State Police followed up on any tips in Diamond and King's case. July 2017. Calvin Poston, age 17 of Gary, is charged in the September 2015 rape and murder of 61-year-old mentally challenged Carolyn Rimpson. At the time of Rimpson's death, Calvin Poston was just 15 years old and was initially questioned, but he was later released. He was also charged with the attempted rape and battery of a different endangered adult female from November 2016. Poston lived within 4 blocks of where Rimpson lived and where she was found deceased. So almost 2 years went by from the time Rimpson was found deceased and the time Mr. Poston was charged. And I'm bringing this up because of the case similarities, and I don't know if law enforcement has ever investigated any similarities between Poston's victims or the Diamond and King case. Poston seemed to target females that were mentally challenged or elderly, or I don't know if this other victim from 2016, if they're calling her an endangered female, I would safely assume that she had some sort of delay, whether it was developmental or physical, but the timeline sure fits. With Diamond and King in July 2015, Carolyn Rimpson in September 2015, he admitted to another case in November 2016, so a year went by between Ms. Rimpson and another time where he attacked another victim. I don't know if perhaps there was another victim in between there that he didn't confess to, or they couldn't pinpoint him being the perpetrator, but he seemed to have targeted these at-risk females. So I thought that was worth bringing up. Not going to allude that they're all connected, but I find them eerily familiar. Okay, moving on. February 1st, 2018. Indiana State Police put out a bulletin with an attached flyer showing an age progression photo of King. The bulletin states there have been no new tips, leads, or developments.
How I wish you were here. Well, what a lost soul swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. To remain on the very same page, glad you're here. So glad you're here.
Make sure that other people know to be on the look. At this point, and I'm not sure how much the family want to share, we believe that 21-year-old Diamond would have called her father by now.
So we're going to go over the map a little bit, and I have this really terrible echo, so everything I say is coming right back at me. I have not ever used this particular screen recording program, so I'm on a learning curve, and so far I don't like it. So what you're looking at on the screen is, let me kind of zoom out. This is the boundary line of Gary, or my feeble attempt at drawing a boundary line of Gary. It kind of looks like one of those old school movie cameras. Anyway, some of this might be off, but this is the general idea. And I'm going to zoom in again, and we're going to start with adding the home. I could see this type pretty clearly. You won't be able to see it very well, but you can see the little icons. I'm going to upload a link to this map on the website so you guys can link to it and kind of look at it. You'll get a much better idea because the words are going to be a little blurry. So this is 529 Matthews. This is where Diamond and King went missing from. Now, I'm going to just briefly go over some of this stuff. Let's see. Let me zoom in so I can show you something. You can also, you'll see it on the legend where you can kind of change things. We're going to go to a different view. So we kind of got a satellite view, and let me turn this boundary off. If you keep this boundary line turned on, you won't be able to use your little hand tool and pull things around. So you turn off the boundary line, you can kind of pull, and we'll zoom in. Okay, so it's been said when I tried to get clarification on which way the canines followed a trail of scent, I was told that it was someone in the task force that said the trail went through the alley, and I don't remember if they said it went this way, but this is, zoom in again so we get a little closer. Here's the house. This is the front door. So there's a little back area out here where they trailed their scent around in the backyard, and it was said that they went down the alley. This is the alley, so they would have gone all the way down. Don't know if they cut through neighborhoods, but I was told that, let me get my little drawer. So they went back through the alley. I was told that they possibly went down to 6th, and then this is Clark. So the Golo and all the scents were tracked this way. Okay, let's zoom out. Then I'll turn on these little dog prints. Zoom out a little. So one of the areas, and I don't know what happened first. I don't know if they tracked to 9th and Clark or if they tracked to the Golo and then back here. But I guess 2 dogs tracked here and lost scent, and then another dog tracked here. But it was in the Gary police report that they tracked it to 9th and Clark near the railroad tracks. So this is a railroad track. This is a railroad track. This is 9th and Clark. So they lose scent there. I don't know which way they were going when they lost. If they lost it here, they were looking this way, or even this way. I don't know which direction they were going that they lost their scent. My question is, let's go down to 11th and Clark. This is actually 11th and Clark right here. But I had to put the little dog further up because it was kind of covering. This is the Golo. So this actually should be down here. But when you zoom out, you couldn't see where the little dog print was. So let me get rid of that. But I have a question, and maybe somebody can help me with this, because this doesn't make sense. Even though it's only, what, 2 blocks difference? Where's the house? Okay. So let's, for theory's sake, we went down here, down the alley, down to Clark. Now they're going, oops, they're going down Clark, they're going down Clark. They keep going down Clark. And here's a scent, right? So they track a scent here, it stops. They track a scent down here, and it stops. What I'm wondering is what happened in this area where there's no scent. How did they get from the house, which is up there, down here? Scent stops, scent starts. If somebody can explain that to me, or maybe I'm just over analyzing it, it didn't make sense to me. Let me see. I'm going to put this back on the street map, only because it's easier to look at. Or I'm going to try, but this thing isn't going to cooperate. Okay, I guess not. There we go. So, again, out the house, down Clark, scent here stops, scent here stops. I don't know if one dog went a different direction, got here, and another dog got it here, but somehow, if the scent stopped at the railroad tracks, I think these are actually the rail tracks. And then there's a scent here. What happened here? It doesn't make sense to me. Again, maybe I'm overanalyzing that. So let's zoom out. We'll go over the other. Down here. There's another area where dogs picked up scent because somebody reported seeing Diamond and King with somebody in this area. One report says 22nd in Whitcomb, Another one says 23rd. So somewhere in here, they picked up a scent. There's never been any real specifics of which way they tracked it, which way it stopped, but this is it right here. I'm wondering if it was this park. So they searched an area, and obviously they didn't find anything. So next thing we're going to go to is the canvassed structures, which would be the apartments. I think we listed like 4 or 5 apartments that they searched through that was up by the McDonald's. So these are those structures up here, these little yellow things. And various locations of interest. I am going to go back to the other map because it's easier to see. Okay, this is one of the alleged sightings. This is McDonald's up here. These are those apartments they looked around. Another alleged sighting down here in Tulliston Park. It was some report of an older black male with a gray beard. He was holding a toddler and calling Diamond's name. I don't know whatever became of that, if that was investigated, if it turned out to be false, if they never saw the person. For all I know, it could have been a grandpa out there holding a baby, searching, looking for Diamond. I don't know. If somebody has some sort of follow-up to that, let me know. So, again, I can update. Let's see. The 4-block radius. Let me zoom out here. Now, early on in the podcast, we were talking about when the officers went to search, and they searched a 4-block radius around the home. This is kind of, I don't know if you can see that little area there, right in here. But usually a 4-block radius means a block in every direction. So a block north, a block south, a block west, a block east. Hopefully they did more than a 4-block radius, which to me would seem they would have gone further out here. Okay, zoom back out, and we'll pull up the grid searches. These are the grid searches we talked about. And there's a little over here that's not in the recording, but over here. There's a legend that explains everything that you guys will be able to see when you pull up the link to the map, and you can kind of turn things off and on. So over here, this little green box, this is the grid search they did from 5th to 25th, Harrison. This is Harrison to Virginia, 5th to 25th. We'll go over this little box here in a minute. This yellow, orange looking box, that is, well, this is they searched that Whitcomb to Borman Expressway, so Whitcomb to Grant to the Borman Expressway. So that's this area. And then this area here in the pink is the 9th, I want to say 9th to 21st, Colfax to Whitcomb. Then there was another little area here that they did a search on, which was 9th to 15th, Clark to Whitcomb. So this is probably because of or when they found the canine. Or, sorry, when the canine tracked scent. We'll go over the POI. Let me get rid of these little arrows. Okay, this was when they announced the POI, which was Terrence Williams, aka Dollar. These addresses were either his address or areas where he was known to be around. These two right here. This one is not an address that law enforcement put out there, but it was listed as an address for this gentleman. And I'm going to zoom in because you're going to see this little pink box here. Okay. We mentioned there was a tip that was turned in, and there was an area where police dispatched to search, but they had to stop searching because I guess they had a bunch of calls backed up. But this right here, this is Virginia Street. This is Maryland, right here, 25th Avenue. And this is, I guess, Georgia. This is 21st. So this area is actually, I think they were over in here. But I don't know if any additional searching was done over there, but it might be an interesting place to kind of look around. Let me zoom out. I think there's just one more thing. So here's what you can see from, let me turn the boundary lines on. Okay, so Gary boundary, and these are all the little places of interest, which if you look almost kind of create a trail, and then it stops. This area in here, I'm sure it was probably searched, but I couldn't find anything that specifically said this was searched. Oops. Yeah, that area in there. Rimson, Carolyn Rimson. Now, I'm going to reiterate that I'm not stating that these cases are related, only that I found some of the similarities pretty eerie. This is where the victim lived. This is where they found the victim's body, in the front yard of an abandoned home. A bunch of pieces of the wood or housing, the porch, I'm not sure, the weeds up to somebody's head, but that's where they found her body. And they actually went searching for her. They walked this area. Of course, they walked this area looking for her. They actually walked past where she was, and the only reason they found her is because somebody happened to be walking by and picked up a foul odor, so they went to investigate, and that is how they found Rimson's body. This down here is where the perpetrator, Mr. Poston, lived. So, again, not Diamond and King's case, just something I thought was interesting. If you look over here, I have Eugene Bynum's business on the map. And I did that because there was chatter about how if he went home he could possibly have driven right past them. Because if they were going to go with the story, if she woke up at 11, but she saw them at 10:30. Actually, she woke up at 11:10, according to the police report, and she last saw them around 10:30. They would have 30 minutes to be out wandering around in this area. So, actually several people were saying he would have driven by them. So let's find out. If you leave his work and you go up, I think this is Ridge or something. You go up Clark. Well, darn it. I have to zoom in because I can't see what road I'm on. Okay. There's the house. Okay, this is better. So this is Ridge Road. So he's down here. If he went down Ridge Road, up Clark, so he's driving up Clark, he would go right past the Golo, and then he would go home. I don't know. Let's see how far that is. We'll get our handy dandy ruler. So, all right. Well, we kind of fudged that. Okay. So, we'll go down to Clark. Here's Ridge. So, maybe 5 miles, 6 miles. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Okay. Or, I don't know what this thing is doing. It's got a mind of its own. Or let's say he went the other way. Maybe he thought, okay, they went to McDonald's. So he drives up, I believe that's Grant, hits the McDonald's and goes home. It's about the same distance. So I don't know what route Eugene Bynum takes from work to home or home to work. That would be something he would have to tell us, so I can't speculate on that. Okay. One more thing and then you guys can go look this up on your own. These are blue areas. I'm going to zoom in so you can really see them. These are blue areas right here. Here's one. Here's one. And then there's one down here. These are all potential areas that should be searched. This area looks like they did a corner of it. But up in here is let's see. I'm going to zoom in real quick. Up in the top left corner of this blue area is a recycling. No, that's not the recycling plant. The recycling plant is over in here. So it looks like part of their grid did include this, but here's a transfer station. Then this whole area I think is part of it over into here, and here's some water. Down over here is a park. And it gets down in here. So none of this area over here was searched that I can find, unless some of the family searched that area. And this particular area, it's actually, I think, a little bit off. It should go further out, maybe to Georgia. It looks like some of this was in their grid search, but this should have been searched too. Again, I don't know if the family searched it. So here's another area. This is the house. This is Clark. Clark goes up. It kind of ends out here. There's some part of the rivers out here and just some whole lot of empty space. So that's another area that should potentially be searched. So with that, I'm going to see if this can, going to zoom out. You guys can kind of see. And well, it's not going to let me show you the little grid, but over here on the left is a legend, and you guys can kind of sift through and it'll tell you what certain things are. If there's an area or several areas that some of you guys have searched that you know, please send me a message, let me know so I can add it to this map and we'll get a pretty big picture of how much territory was really covered. If you're going out searching, you can always, I believe you can print this map out and kind of choose your areas you want to look at. And if you do search an area, again, message me, let me know. We'll add it to the map and we'll see how things look after that. So there you guys go. Thanks for tolerating my learning curve with me.